Hey Dan, how's it going?
Hey, not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
Great. Thanks for joining us here on SEO Cheat Guides. Looking forward to interviewing, hearing more about your story, and hopefully sharing some good tidbits with our audience.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What kind of marketing you do, how you got started, and kind of what you're doing today.
Okay, so I do, I guess if you looked at me from an outside perspective, you'd say I was a link builder. I decided a couple of years ago to stop doing SEO as a whole and just do a specific part of it, as it's sort of, it factors its own sort of different type of client into it. So rather than getting an SEO client, which people don't really understand, by offering only link building, you get people who know SEO and they know what link building is and how effective it is, and therefore can appreciate what I do a little bit more than just a standard small business. But I also have a blog, so I'm sort of 50-50 at the moment between marketing my blog and client work.
Cool. So how did you get started? Did you start in marketing out of school or?
No, I was sort of like, basically, like when I was in university, I was a bit of a hustler. So I just wanted to make as much money as possible without actually working. So yeah, so I would write articles and stuff for people. So I fancied myself as a bit of a writer. So I would just, get like $30 per piece or something like that, 500 words, $30, that type of stuff. And one guy one day asked me, "Oh, can you write SEO articles? We pay 60 for it." So I was like, yeah. I had no idea what SEO was. So, I just wanted money at the time. So then I went to Googling, what is SEO and stuff, and I thought I could make double. And the way that my brain works is, if this guy can pay me $60 for one piece, then how much is he making from that one piece?
Sure.
So it's sort of a natural flow to sort of, start doing my own SEO sites. And that's how I got started.
Perfect. So finding the first clients when you started to get into SEO, did you get into kind of client SEO or did you start right away just from the writing and just offering that service?
No, it's once I'd got to this point and I found the first person I ever found about SEO was Pat Flynn, and he had an article that said SEO that works or how to do SEO that works, something like that.
Sure.
And it was a really basic sort of link building system that just wouldn't work these days, but back then it was much, much easier. And I started building websites myself and, ranking them for, AdSense and stuff like that, making tiny amounts of money. And then, as you know, had a pretty big website with somebody that your audience will know. That didn't end too well. But, from that moment on, I knew I could rank websites. So, it makes sense. Once you know how to do stuff, then sell it to other people, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So as you were growing and your business was kind of progressing, did you come to a point where you decided, hey, SEO is a tedious task and we're going to need to bring in some people to help?
Right, exactly. So, this is where I make you all cry by telling you my sob story. But so about 2 or 3 years, we're talking about 2012 or something now, I was diagnosed with kidney failure. And it just happened all of a sudden. It's like, bang, you've got kidney failure now. And I was in hospital for about a month. So the client list that I'd built up just all left me over that month because I was in hospital and didn't have internet access or, and even if I did, I wouldn't have been doing work. So I got out of hospital a month later, rebuilt my client list, and then it happened again. So I was like, and the same exact thing happens. And then when you're in that stage where at any moment you could be out of action for a whole month or maybe even longer, you have to find a way to systemize things to a way where you can go missing for a month and things will still tick along. So I've always been process based myself anyway. Do you know what minimalism is?
Yep.
I'm a big minimalist. So everything I do sort of like it filters through, everything I own or the way I eat and my business completely. So I've always got a process for something. And I used to just have them for myself. So it'd be like a new client comes along, I would do this, and then this. And that's how I would get rankings for them. So, it just came to a point where I would turn those lists of my own into instruction booklets for other people. And, and then you can take on people who literally, as long as they know how to copy and paste, they can, build links to the same level that I can pretty much.
So you basically built a process map for them and allow people to follow it. Very similar to what we do here at SEO Cheat Guide. So definitely familiar with that process, like that process. I call it smart, lazy. Minimalist works too. But that's great. So how big is your team today? So today you're really focusing on one aspect of SEO in terms of link building and going after a higher market. How many people or VAs would you have working on your team today, and how do you kind of interact with them and hand off work?
Okay, so in terms of what would be a VA, the people who are following my instructions and actually doing the day-to-day process, I have 2 people for each 2 clients. So they always work in teams of 2, and each team can have 2 clients beneath them, because I don't like to overwork people. So, to keep things simple, I don't want, people who are brand new to SEO managing 4 or 5 clients, because they'll just get, lost.
Okay.
So at the moment, I have 8 of those people. But because I don't really want to manage those people every single day, I don't need to be, talking to them and telling them what to do and answering questions. I have 2 project managers as well. So I have an American guy and an Indian guy. So, round the clock, I've got someone 24 hours to handle the questions. That's something I found out the hard way, by the way. You can't have an American VA managing Indian VAs because the time difference is completely different.
Sure.
So you need one of each if you have people in different countries. So 10 people total, teams of 2, but 1 prospector and 1 outreach person. And then I hire writers like ad hoc as I need them.
Okay. And what kind of volume would you be doing, either in dollars or number of clients? And then what does that translate to in terms of links, right? I mean, you're building high quality links, so we should probably, we'll delve into that, I would imagine, after. But I just want to give people kind of a perspective of where you are in your business.
Cool. So, I mean, I have, based on the amount of money that somebody pays me, that's how many hours I let my guys work on their contract.
Okay.
So the average, the standard, which is £2,000 a month, which is my lowest fee, they'll do 200 targets per month. Okay. So we can generally expect about 10-15% link acquisition rate. So, for $2,000, you're looking at 15 links or so. Okay. But, if they have an exceptional piece of content to work with, we've just had a client who got 30 links this month, and we've had sort of 44 in the past, so it's completely dependent. But we say we'll approach 200 people.
Okay.
And that's,
When you're doing that approach, is it, I'm assuming you're doing some research to each one?
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole set of processes in place. The only part that I get involved in, personally, is sort of new onboarding. So I'll run, because it's very hard to teach somebody to spot good content or be able to come up with ideas and angles that are good content. Okay. So I do that by myself. It takes about an hour, 2 hours per client. But yeah, I run a content audit, and if they haven't already got something, then I'll have to come up with ideas, and that's probably the hardest part of the entire process. Perfect.
So you're doing that halftime. Your halftime sounds like it's 1 or 2 hours. You've got 8 people working, so that means you're working with what, 15, 16 clients?
Well, I've only got 9 at the minute.
9 clients, okay.
Yeah, I mean, so I have. When I first started doing client work, I sort of had this dream of working with 5 clients who would pay me $10,000 a month each.
Okay.
So £50,000, no stress, because 5 clients is easy to manage.
Sure.
That's the dream, but it's very hard to first off get £10,000 clients.
Yes.
And it's even harder to keep them.
Yes.
So I'm hovering around 9 clients to hit that sort of income, 9, 10. But I'm working on it.
Nice. Well, gotta have goals.
Yeah, right.
So how do you currently find new business?
I've got sort of a few little systems in place. So I obviously rank for all of the local organic terms, except for I live in a city called Leeds in England. I don't rank for SEO Leeds because it was so hard to maintain it. And I found that the only people actually typing that in were SEOs in Leeds. Like, sort of like a vanity thing. Everyone just wants to be number one.
Yep.
So I rank for stuff sort of like link building company and freelance SEO consultant, that type of stuff. Because those are things that people who actually want to hire me, they're typing in.
Okay.
So, organic traffic's the first one. I'm also pretty good with sales funnels. So this is where I plug digitalmarketer.com.
Okay.
If you want to learn how to make sales funnels of sort of any type, they're the best people. And so I sort of joined what they do with a book from a guy called Daniel Priestley called Oversubscribed. Have you read that?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah, it's one of the only books that I read over and over again. Yep. It's absolutely beautiful. So I have these automated sales funnels coming in all the time. And as you know, you've read the book, got a waiting list of people waiting for my services. And also I have like every SEO, a cold email system working for me.
Nice.
But I don't take on clients that often because, my whole bit, my business is sort of like a lifestyle business. So I'm not trying to, get 100 clients or make £1 million. I just want to make enough money so that I can relax and not be stressed. And more than 10 clients, stress.
Fair enough. So like I mentioned to you earlier, I think a lot of our audience, they're either at the beginning stage, maybe they're doing $1,000 to $3,000 to $5,000 a month. A lot of them still have jobs, the side hustle, trying to get out of the side hustle and make that leap into it full time.
I remember those days.
Yeah, so definitely interested in picking your brain. Any advice you would have for them in terms of if you could go back in time and look back and you were, SEO's changed, so what you did in the past may not be applicable today, but, knowing what you know today, if you had to go back and start over, what do you think the path of least resistance to get to the point where you can get rid of the JOB, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I actually first took on my clients, it was just, it was I had a conversation with the guy we alluded to earlier, and we were just like, we were making a couple of grand from our website, but it was kind of like, we thought we were some of the smartest men in the world at the time. We'd figured out one of the big things in life. Let's work out the next one, which is money. So we were just like, one day we were just talking about how we would make money. So we came up with this plan, and all we did was walked around our local towns, and every time we saw sort of, a company with a phone number and a website and that type of stuff, we just took a picture of it.
Okay.
And then I ended up with about 35 in about an hour and a half's worth of walking around. Got home, called them all. I told them who I was, what I did, showed them that I'd done it before, that I could do it for them, and what the results of that would be. And I mean, really, if you tell someone, you make sales from your website, right? They say, yeah. You say, how many? What would happen if you had more traffic coming to your website? It just, it's a sort of, if you can actually speak to people, the business owner, then it's a sort of no-brainer. It's a little bit different these days because there's a lot more SEOs out there because, people like you and me are showing people how to do it.
Fair enough. So basically you jumped on the phone with them and you walked them through a sales process. You had a sequence of questions leading them to micro yeses followed by, give me a try. Let me do the service for you. Yeah,
pretty much. And I made sort of 35 phone calls, first day, 4 clients, £5,000 recurring. So, that's when people hate on you a little bit because you didn't have the rocky start.
Right.
But I mean, for me, it was probably just because there wasn't a lot of people in my city doing it at that time. If you walk around now, there are, you know, shops that sell SEO, like thousands of them.
That's why SEO is not, at least from my perspective, it's not the first product I try to sell people. I'm much like you. I'm building funnels, but I'm doing something else in terms of my lead product before I'm going to sell that as a back end product. You already have their trust. So tell us a little bit about your time. You've mentioned that time is important to you. It's a lifestyle business for you. So how do you currently divide your time amongst your two businesses, and what does an average week kind of look like for you?
This is when people hate me. I probably work maybe an hour or two a week on clients, and all that is every Monday I have a Skype chat with my project managers, and they just tell me, you know, have we hit targets in terms of how many people we've approached, how many links have we got, are there any problems with the campaign, what can we do to improve, that sort of stuff. But I mean, the system is so robust these days that there's never really a problem. It's basically them just saying how many links we've got. So it's not all that. So most of my time these days is spent, you know, trying to grow either my Facebook group or my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Which I spoke to you about earlier.
Perfect. So your clients, are they other like agencies that have like larger clients? They're coming to you and saying, hey, we don't know how to do SEO, or at least the link building aspect of SEO, and outsourcing it to you or white labeling it through you?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are, and I do recommend that approach to people. But I personally prefer to work with the sort of marketing teams. So if you're looking at some of the biggest companies in the UK, they already have a marketing team. They've got a marketing director. They've got a load of money to spend and a budget, and they need something to spend it on. And I've never met any other agency in the UK who can build links at the same scale that I can.
Okay.
For as cheap as I can do it. So, you know, if you tell them that all these people want is consistent amount of links in a white hat manner, and they're okay. These type of companies, like I said earlier, it attracts a certain type of company by not selling SEO and selling link building. Mm-hmm. So they already know what it is and they appreciate it, and they're happy with the sort of, you know, 5-10% growth each month. You know, a lot of these smaller companies, they need that initial push, sort of 20-30, you know, spike. Whereas these companies, they're more than happy to take, you know, even a 3% organic traffic growth, that type of stuff. So I prefer to work with these large companies because, you know, they have deep pockets, and it's the same exact work that you would do for smaller companies, but you get paid a lot more.
More money, less work. I like it.
Yeah, right.
So I'd be interested in picking your brain a little bit. So right now, a lot of people struggle because they take on client work, a lot of smaller client work, and they get bogged down in that work. So you're someone who, obviously, I appreciate the whole systemization of a business. What is your approach in terms of that? And, you know, obviously not necessarily revealing your secret sauce in terms of how you're building links, but how are you breaking it down for your team so, you know, some of the listeners can kind of get another person's opinion on how to build out a system?
Okay, so everything that I do at the moment is run through Google Drive and Google Docs. So we have one project management spreadsheet. This isn't secret source, by the way. You can read about it on my blog. This is step by step.
Okay.
But we have a project management spreadsheet that when I first take in, this is the onboarding part that I do. You know, it has the type of links that we should go after for this client, the keywords that we should use to find links, and, you know, what content we will drive that sort of angle to. So sort of if I'm approaching people for guest posts, you know, you're going to have a different approach to if you're going for resource links. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, I'll choose 3 or 4 different link types, and, you know, then they can go into their training manuals, which, you know, the most robust I've ever seen. And, how to get guest posts, and they do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And then they have a list of targets. Then the next person, they have to approach those targets, and they say do step 1, step 2, step 3, and magic links come out of it. But it's very, very simple, and I try and keep the minimalist thing going through my entire business. So if there's a step that isn't necessary or is a little bit too complicated, I just take it out. So sort of, we used to get a lot of what people now know as the skyscraper methods type links, right? That everyone's been doing for 100 years, but now it's got a name. I just took it out of my process because my staff couldn't work out how to do it.
Okay.
So it's still some sort of training in there, but I don't use it very often.
Okay.
It's sort of, each system is adaptable. So my different teams do things differently. So each project management sheet looks different because, it has to be bendable to, whatever works, you have to change things to make it like that.
So probably a higher end question, maybe not. So one team is going out, they're building a relationship, grabbing a link from somewhere. Is that relationship then available to your other team leads?
Yeah, everybody has access to every project management sheet.
Okay.
It's just not on their to-do list.
Okay.
So, if they, so if we take on another client that's, the angle crosses over, they can happily just take from that sheet and go and approach those people.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm dealing with in my company is just managing the relationships, and people are naturally competitive. So
yeah. Well, we have this. I manage it all through Slack, really.
Slack.
So
okay.
Yeah, so we have a different channel for each client, and so then I'm not searching through emails and Skype messages. I literally just have to go into that, and if they have a client that might cross over, they just ask in there.
Gotcha.
And I say, yep, that works. And then they can go just steal all the prospects.
Google Sheets, Google Docs, Slack, any other software that you would recommend for people?
Yeah, if you're doing it yourself, so when I'm doing stuff myself, which I do occasionally for my own websites and stuff, I use BuzzStream. BuzzStream, yeah. It's just it's basically a CRM, but built specifically for link builders.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, if you're doing it yourself, you use that, but I don't give it to my staff to use because, one, you have to pay more, and two, they can find it a little bit confusing. Like if they change something or move something, people aren't really very good at just being, oh, I'll use my common sense and find it. They just say, oh, it's not there anymore.
Right.
Because that's the type of people you're hiring to do this for $3 an hour. So
I know you said you have some people in the US and you have some people in India. Is that the two countries that you focus on for your VAs?
Oh, no. I have some Czech people. It's whoever can do the job, really. If they can speak English clearly and can follow I give them sort of trials, so they have to do a certain type of thing. So if they're trialing to be a prospector, it's like, find 10 suitable prospects for this website, or stuff like that. And as long as they get through that, I'll hire them. It doesn't matter where they're from.
Perfect. And in terms of where you find these people, what services do you use to find your outsourcers?
I use pretty much 100% Upwork.
Okay.
I don't really like it that much, but I've never found somewhere else that can compete for the same price. So I'm looking to spend, as low as possible. I want people who they can speak English and they can follow a set of instructions, and that's all they need to be able to do. If they have any other SEO knowledge, it gets in the way. So I just want, I pay my prospectors $3.33 an hour. That's US dollars. And my outreach guy is $5 an hour.
Okay.
So, if you find me another service that can get the same sort of people for that price, I'll take it.
Check out onlinejobs.ph.
Yeah, I've seen the Filipino ones, but it doesn't seem to find me the right people.
Fair enough. So where are you going now with your agency? How big do you want it to go? I know you said you want to get down. you basically sound like you want to reverse it. You want to go from the 50 grand with 9 to 50 grand with 5. Is that the
right?
Is that the goal?
So yeah, like I mean, if I could, I wouldn't have an agency anymore.
Okay.
But I realize that if you want to blog about SEO, you have to do SEO. So I'm never going to be the guy who just blogs about theory.
Okay.
You know, I'm always going to have clients, because if I stop knowing what works, I'll stop being able to tell people what works.
Right.
So, I mean, if I can get to, it's probably a long way off, but if I can get to 5 clients at 10 grand each, I'll be happy. But at the moment, I'm on like 68 grand, so I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna start complaining.
No one's gonna listen if you start complaining.
Yeah, right. Yeah, get out of the SEO world. There's no money in it.
Perfect. So, where can people find you online? You mentioned your blog, so let's drop a link. I'll put a link below in the YouTube and on our blog. Yeah, right below. But I'll let you mention it and where they can find you, either on Facebook or what the best place to reach out to you.
Yeah, it's just danray.me. So DANRAY.me. I've got nothing to sell, so.
Well, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out and sharing with us. I guess I should ask you one final question. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share, or I should have asked you to kind of get your story and share with our audience?
I think I did write a hell of a lot in answer to your questions, but it got lost after the first question, so I don't know if you missed anything.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, have a great afternoon. Thanks a lot for hopping on, especially with the time change. And
afternoon. It's night time. I'm off to bed.
All right. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.
Okay, mate. Good night. Bye.